notes. All right. Are you guys ready?
Yeah, all good, man.
All right.
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Hey guys, welcome back to the PWL Podcast. My name's Addison Davis. Today I'm here with SirCommanderC and KrudeDude, and today we're going to be going over. We're not going to be talking about the teams too much. We're going to be talking more about Overwatch as a whole right now. The new Lucio changes. But first, to introduce you guys, Commander, you're the #1 player in the game right now. You want to maybe talk a little bit about how that is? I'm friends with you, so I know that you get like a ton of messages about that.
Yeah, well, recently I kind of lost the #1 ranking, but while you're #1, it's a little bit interesting because you get like about 100 to 150 friend requests a day and like at least 30 to 40 messages of people, so it's a little bit of a different environment than what normally playing Overwatch is, I guess. So yeah.
Crude, you want to introduce? Oh, you guys can both introduce what teams you guys are on and what you play for that.
So we're both on Resilience, and I'm currently DPS right now.
And I'm currently playing as support.
Support.
Generally Lucio, and a little bit of Zen if it's needed.
Well, all right. So our first topic, I wanted to see what we thought about the Lucio changes. I personally don't really like them. I thought I was going to, but I don't think it's very good for Overwatch because now Lucio you could kind of run in every comp, and he was very lenient. Now you have to play like one comp with Lucio, and it brings back the triple tank meta.
Quad tank meta.
Quad tank.
Yeah. I don't know. It's one of the changes that, like, another one of the changes from Blizzard that doesn't really make sense to the consumer, I guess. Like, we had the Bastion one, and now we have the Lucio one. It's like, they made it fun to play Lucio, but they made it suck for the rest of the people in the game. So, I don't really like it. Like you mentioned, like, it makes only, like, Deathball type comps viable if it's done correctly. So, like, people get punished for flanking or trying to make a play. In a sense, you always just have to stay with your team, and it's kind of boring from that perspective. So yeah, that's kind of what I think about the changes so far.
Yeah, I kind of feel like it's the same thing. I feel like to really make use out of Lucio. Have you guys seen the movie Kicking and Screaming?
Yes.
Where there's the really big tall kid, and they have like all the kids that surround him, and he's just in the middle with the ball. That's pretty much how you have to play. Is just move as a pack, like in a really tight sort of area like that, and it's really hard to actually to run like a dive comp or anything like that with a Lucio now. It's just you're not going to get the benefit of a speed boost or any bit of heals or anything. You've got to literally be in the fight, and it's just a complete mess. His survivability is a lot better with the boost of speed and things like that off the walls, and his damage and everything. Like, it is technically a buff to him, but it feels like an overall team play. It's a nerf.
I haven't really felt the speed boost at all. Like, I can't do
it's only off walls. Yeah,
it's the same. Yeah, you have to like do it consistently, like hit wall after wall to go really fast. But like, it just doesn't make any sense. He was the most picked hero before at any competition, PC, console, or whatever. And then they give him more damage, and then now he does more healing overall in a team setting. And his speed boost didn't get nerfed. So I don't understand why they would want to buff the like most picked character anymore, because people were complaining about him not being impactful when it was kind of obvious that he's already pretty impactful because he gets getting picked in every single team comp. So yeah, that kind of thing.
I mean, I felt with all the Mercy changes, I already wasn't seeing Lucio being played as much as he was, because a lot of teams were opting to run like Zen Mercy a ton. I mean, Zen Mercy isn't exactly the best combo in my opinion either, though. But a lot of teams were starting to run that.
Well, you've also got triple DPS as well. That's the thing too.
Yeah.
And that's going to go because of
you can't
Lucio
run that.
changes. It won't work. No.
Yeah. I mean, before these Lucio changes, like I said on the previous podcast, I thought the meta was pretty open. Like, you could play what you want, really.
Yeah, yeah.
You could run a triple tank or the 2-2 or the 3-1, but you
Yeah.
can't really do
And
that
like
anymore.
the changes have like made characters who may have been like slightly out of meta like way out of the meta.
Yeah,
Like picking Widow, like picking a sniper is completely worthless because you can't get any heals in and a Lucio can 1v1 you 90% of the time anyway. Now, like because if you're sitting still and he hits a headshot line on you, you're dead. And then also like characters like McCree who are slower and they can't stay close. Like they need to get in close, but like it's when they get in that much, they have no survivability and they have to stay close to the thing. Got nerfed a little bit. Maybe he didn't. I don't know, but I think he got nerfed. And then like flankers too. Like flankers are obviously really in the meta, but you can't like go out and make a play on Tracer without like your team diving in, or you're gonna get focused and die. Like you don't have the passive speed or the passive heals. Like I don't know. It makes those type of characters where you have to play with the team a lot more a little bit, which may not be a bad thing because a lot of people would argue that Trace is a little bit overpowered, but
Yeah.
at the same time, it just I don't know. It makes it hard for individuals to make plays instead.
I thought with Lucio changes, well, like, I play Winston a lot, and with Winston, killing Lucio can sometimes be a little bit troublesome because he could heal himself through like almost 2 clips of your gun.
Yeah.
And I thought that maybe this would bring Winston up a little bit more because he could take out that crucial pick. But now it's not easy because that Lucio's getting shielded by 3 tanks.
I think Winston got nerfed too by this because if he jumps, he's out of the Lucio heals, he's gonna get melted.
Yeah, and I mean, there's
so you like Reinhardt, even like a dive comp may make more sense now just because like Winston's survivability went down a lot without passive heals and without like being able to speed out of there and stuff.
And
he's always gonna be out of range if he tries to go dive somebody.
And they're being a roadhog on every team now.
Yeah.
It's just funny how like one support makes all the difference. Like it just changes the entire meta just through a couple of changes, like to one hero. It's crazy how, like that's how influential Lucio is. That's how big of a character he is, and to change him at all like means changes in the meta, and that's what we're gonna see.
I didn't think anything was too wrong with Lucio, honestly, and I already had a ton of fun playing him.
I mean, Lucio before had possibly like one of the top 2 or 3 skill caps of any character in my opinion.
Yeah.
Before the nerf, he didn't need it. Like you watch people like Sankey or top level Lucios from the pros on PC. Like you can carry on Lucio if you're good enough. It's just people say he has no impact because they don't master the character and like play him at a really high level like from the start. Like if you can easily carry on Lucio. Like maybe not if you're like a top rated player. It's a little bit hard to carry on him, but like if you're on that Lucio, well, you can definitely make a huge impact in your team rather than just having your average Lucio. It's a big difference. So yeah.
Well, I think that we've talked about that plenty. Unless you guys have any last comments on that.
No.
I'm good, man.
I thought I guess in that we did pretty much cover the current meta, so we don't need to talk about that. But so recently we saw in the Premier World League, we saw Ravioli or Farmers Market disband, and their spot was taken by Cheeks Puckered, which I think they show that they in the gauntlet they were a new team at the time though, so they had a couple of kinks to work out, but they did show that they have a ton of strong players. So now they won against MJ's team in a qualifier, so you could take the spot of Farmers Market. And how do you think that they're gonna affect the Premier World League against the other teams?
Well, I think it's a total question mark right now. Cheeks Pucker definitely has an incredible amount of talent on their team. It's just a matter of if they can come together and not just be a bunch of guys who are really good at ranked and be an actual team and start dominating in that way. It's definitely a question if they can come together and be like that, because essentially they have 4 or 5 DPS players that are fitting in new roles in a little bit, and they've got to figure out who's going to be doing what. But I mean, I think they have a good chance of being really successful. It's just a matter if they can figure out roles and figure out who's going to take the lead of that team and be able to make the calls, and who's going to like really make that team gel together with all the talent that they do have.
Good. I've played with Orphan a fair few times in comp, and he plays a variety of
Yeah.
characters. I know that he
Is
plays
Orphan on main roster now?
Yeah, he's on main roster. So I think the last time I saw him play, he was on Mercy. Um,
Oh, he
so
is a pretty good healer
he
too.
normally he is, yeah. His support is very, very good. But I think their whole lineup is really, really strong. You can see it like if you look them up on the leaderboards in the top 500, you'll see a lot of the names there, like up in the top 100, and no, they're all really good players. But as Commander said, a lot of them are DPS players, so it'll be interesting to see how they um, how they get into the meta and see what characters they pick up and see how they gel as a team, and yeah, they go from there because they've got the talent to be a PWL squad.
Yeah.
But let's just see how they work as a team, and hopefully it brings some interesting competition to the league.
That's exactly how I think of it too. I mean, especially with Rezi, who I still think is. Well, I think other than Supreme, I think Rezi's still probably the best. Other than Supreme, DPS or Flex at that. Maybe not DPS, but Flex. I think Rezi's perfect at that still.
Well, like that's kind of plays into what the Crude and I were saying though, because last time we saw him, like, Rezi was on support most of the time, I think, and like Pika was on Lucio for part of it, but they switched it around a lot, and they weren't really sure what roles they were in. So if they have like somebody that talented who's on a support or a tank role instead of DPS, that's what they're best at, and that's something they got to figure out.
I mean, I
what
think they're
works for
running.
them.
They're probably running him on like Zenyatta.
Yeah, I know he's been on outfield
he's-
a lot, but he
he's
also
been
played a
playing a
little bit
ton
of
of
Lucio
Zen.
and a little bit of Ryan.
And he's pretty.
Just a lot of wasted
accurate.
potential.
But I mean,
That's the thing. If
we
he's-
know how
he's that
accurate
good.
he is. So I mean, he could probably hit a ton of headshots on Zen. Like I follow him on Twitter, and I've
Yeah.
been seeing a ton of his Zen videos that he's been posting. He can carry a team in comp, and like I'm talking like top 30 games that he plays. So I
Yep.
think that's a ton of potential right there. So,
Okay.
next thing I wanted to cover was in the meta right now. I think that, well, as this meta has kind of shifted to this whole triple tank thing, a little bit before that when I was writing these questions, Pharah Mercy is still super strong, even in this meta. Well, not as strong as it was in the last one, but what characters do you think need changing right now? Because right now, I think the characters that are pretty overpowered are Mercy. I think that she doesn't really take much skill to play with how impactful she is. I think that Ana needs to be kind of like at least 2% better than her. But I think Mercy should still be good, but I think Ana needs to be a little bit better because Ana takes so much time and effort to play.
Personally, I don't think that there's any heroes that necessarily need a nerf right now. I think Mercy's definitely counterable. It just takes the coordinated team to do, which is why she's kind of running through ranked right now, and people can't catch her because it's always just people that aren't very coordinated. But I think she's definitely counterable, even with the Pharah. There's a multitude of different ways to counter it, considering she takes all the healing away from her tanks if she's on the Pharah the whole time. So it's just a matter of like playing as a team to counter. I understand like the argument that she doesn't take a lot of skill, but like top level Mercies do take like quite a bit of positioning and quite a bit of like thinking in the head. It's a different type of skill, but it still takes a lot. And at the same time, she's definitely easy to go catch if the team goes and makes a play for her and actually goes together. It's just a matter of you got to make plays together. I mean, that's kind of how Mercy is. But yeah, I mean, on console, you could definitely argue that Pharah is overpowered just because of how much she's had. And it's a little bit harder to aim with the controller, obviously. But at the same time, I think we've moved a little bit away from Pharah's completely dominating the competitive scene. It's definitely a more situational hero and like a team play at least. And I don't know. I think it's definitely not that huge of a deal in my opinion. But
I mean, if you look at Europe, I'm not sure if it's still. If you look at Europe right now,
yeah, but that's in
6
ranked though. People aren't coordinated. That's the same thing.
Well,
they
that's
just
the thing.
6-stack anyway,
But
so
Pharah
it
is
doesn't really matter.
Pharah is just so strong right now. I think it's kind of ridiculous. I feel like something does need to be done about her. And like you said, aiming's a little harder on console. And when a Pharah's up in your face, especially with the Mercy heals and everything, it's kind of difficult to counter her. But the way to counter a Pharah Mercy, in my opinion, is kill the rest of her team. I mean, she's gonna get kills on your team, but you just gotta kill their 4 before they kill you guys.
Yeah, you just gotta put pressure on the rest. Like, you just gotta realize that they're putting 2 people in for 1 DPS. So if you just take the 5-on-4 and win it and just keep the fair distracted for long enough with a soldier or a diva or whatever, or McCree, then your team should win the fight. It's up to the
Mm-hmm.
she's not going to get picked. So you got to take advantage of the rest of her team regardless of what you're running. Like, even if you're running a full, like, hard fair counter with, like, a Zen and double hit scan, like, a good fair can still sit behind corners and not die. And that's everywhere. It doesn't matter if it's on PC or console or wherever. But you just got to kill the rest of her team because the rest of their team is pretty much, like, without healing. So, it's just kind of my opinion.
Yeah. Another character that I think is super strong right now is Tracer.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's all...
Yeah. Especially on console.
I think something needs
A
to
lot
be
more
done about
dominant.
Tracer, honestly, because Tracer's been dominant for every meta, but Overwatch hasn't done anything about her. And, like, maybe she's not too overpowered, but characters need to get nerfed and buffed to keep the game fresh and different.
Yeah.
I think something does need to be done about Tracer.
Yeah, I think Tracer followed the meta a little bit right now because of Lucio changes, because of how she can't go flank and go anything crazy unless her whole team goes. But in terms of ranked, I think it's definitely possible you could say that. Like, even on PC, like, Tracer's pick rate's the highest of any DPS. So that probably says something. A lot of that's because of the dive minute they went through for so long. But at the same time, she's still extremely strong.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Blizzard will ever nerf her unless she gets way too overpowered, just because she's like the figurehead character for the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the face of the game. But we'll see. I mean, I don't know if she's necessarily. She's definitely counterable. It just takes a coordinated team at the same time.
But I mean,
and the whole team can't go after her. But you just gotta, like, understand how to play within the team and to stop her. So yeah.
I mean, if you're playing like Xeno. I mean, a McCree, it's not easy to counter a Tracer that knows how to use her blinks and stay away from McCree and bait it. And then McCree, I think, is the best counter, or Roadhog. And I mean, a Tracer like Xeno, who I never see without a blink, he won't get hooked by the Roadhog because he's always got a blink up. And then, like, I feel like I'm hooking Tracers a lot, but the hook breaks if a Tracer blinks at the right time, she can break the hook before she gets reeled in. So that's kind of stupid. I feel like if I hook a Tracer,
I think that's more of a they need to fix the hook than Tracer's broken. But but yeah, I don't know. I think she's definitely counterable. I think part of it's that people don't play as coordinated on console. Those 2 characters are dominant. And there's also some characters that need a buff. Like, I think McCree does need a marginal buff on his distance, at least. Because Soldier's so dominant over McCree, not because Soldier's necessarily overpowered, but because McCree has no range. Like, in ranked, your team is not going to, like, take the McCree cross map so you can get close so you can, like, dominate. Like, you basically have to. Like, if McCree gets to close range, then a good McCree's going to take over the game.
Mm-hmm.
But it's impossible to get him close enough right now to make that happen unless you're in, like, a full team that's actually going to make that play together.
Yeah.
And so, that's why I think he gets played so much less than Soldier. It's not that he's too bad. It's just that he has no ability when you're at a range, and he's not even threatening unless he gets 3 headshots in a row. It just isn't going to happen on console. And so yeah. But I think McCree definitely needs a buff. I don't know if there's any other characters I think that really need a buff.
I mean, a lot of people say, like, Reaper or Torbjorn or Winston need buffs. I think those 3 characters are actually pretty strong. I mean, I've been playing Torbjorn and comp lately, and I've been climbing. I've won like 5 games in a row.
Well,
but
that's a different story.
But I mean, these characters, they're just the problem with them. Like Winston and Reaper, especially, and Torb, they're way too situational. So, as we see these characters come in and out of the meta, we're going to be seeing, as Winston comes in the meta, Reaper will be coming in the meta. And then, as less tanky...
Hey, Winston's been kind of in the meta in last meta, I mean...
Yeah, but
and stuff like that.
We can't see him in this meta because Triple Tank is making such a hard return.
Yeah. So Reaper may come back, but yeah, I mean, I think I think it's a character design thing, not necessarily they need buffed or nerfed. Like Torb, I think they should give him his turret damage back they took away on console because there was no reason to ever take it away. It was mostly just because people were stacking Torb runs they did that, and obviously you can't do that anymore. So
I mean, they've buffed it to.
Yeah,
buffed it back up a little bit. It's like halfway.
A little bit. Yeah, it's I don't know. I think it still needs to be like at full power again, so Torb can actually be a force. I think it'll be a problem in ranked if Torb gets buffed back up, but like in team play he'll be balanced and he can actually be situationally used. Not like an every time pick, but something to throw another team off, which is how he should be. Not like right now where he's completely unusable in like a 66 situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean like Reaper and Winston, like unless they change how like they do a complete rework, like they're gonna be situational. Yeah, I mean Winston's a dive character, so if the meta's dive, he's gonna be in there. Like Reaper's there for a lot slower gameplay where he has to get ushered into the battle, so like he'll be there for that.
Problem we're seeing with McCree, except McCree doesn't have the sustainability and or the like invisibility or whatever it's called, the invulnerability that Reaper has. Yeah. So Reaper's still a little bit better than McCree and that whole staying alive factor.
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard people talk about like changing Reaper a little bit, but like I feel like he's one of those make or break heroes, or if they buff him just a tiny bit too much, he's going to be used nonstop again, like he used to be.
I mean, he hasn't been nerfed.
I don't think that's what anybody wants. Yeah, I think he should just say like he is. Like, he's usable in a team situation in certain places, and I think that's how it should be. Like, he doesn't have the highest skill cap. Like, it's mostly just positioning. So like, that's how those characters should be, in my opinion. Like, they shouldn't be must picks ever if they don't take any skill, or not any skill, but like more than like a ridiculous amount of like high skill cap characters. So I don't know. That's just kind of what I think about that.
Yeah. Some changes that I know people have been talking about for McCree is like giving him kind of like a Genji dash combat role, which I think would kind of be a little crazy.
No, that's too much.
Yeah,
that's way too much.
That. And you got that deep out of Reddit right there.
I feel like as Commander said, like you should buff his range a little bit, but I feel like his ult as well is just so underwhelming most of the time. A lot of the time it's too easy to counter, or you don't get any use out of it. There's no point in having it in some situations. So if you're coming up against all these shields or barriers that are stopping you, like a Diva and a Reinhardt and all these kinds of things, then there's no point in using McCree's ult. You just get it and you just use it, for nothing. I feel like there should be something there to make it maybe harder to kill or easier to like lock on to people or something like that. But I think his ult is probably something that needs to be changed as well, because it can be very powerful and it can definitely get the kills, but it's just too easy to shut down and too easy to just too easy to counter.
Do you think that maybe giving him back that back a very long time ago in Overwatch, whenever you cancel the ult, because sometimes you have to cancel the ult on McCree, you're just gonna get caught out dead. But he used to retain.
That wouldn't be such a bad thing.
He used to retain 50% of his ult. Maybe that needs to come back, because a lot of people, what they would do was put the McCree behind the Ryan shield, use the ult to just spread out the team fight a bit, and then just cancel it. They wouldn't even shoot if they got one person. They would cancel it just to gain some momentum, gain some ground. So maybe that would be a good change.
Maybe that's what they were trying to avoid when they got rid of the 50%. They were trying to avoid people just using the ult just to gain distance on the payload. And especially now because they've made the changes to assault maps with the ticks coming in. That might be actually like a big deal if they just use it for zoning. Like it'll just get a little bit of percentage, and that'll make the difference. And they just keep doing that, and it'll end up.
That's a great point.
It'd just be really weird.
This problem with the McCree coming back like that. I don't know. I think it's something they gotta try out. It's just. Obviously, we see like some of the highest level players on PC still using him at an extremely high level, and there's still some on console too who can use him really well. But it's just he's too easy to kill. Like, not without like so many resources being put around him. from the team, whereas like a soldier can kind of do his own thing and still like make plays. But if McCree's by himself in like a team setting, he's gonna get destroyed every time. So yeah, it's just kind of he needs a little bit of a change somewhere or other. I'm sure Blizzard can get it figured out.
I think as well from what I've seen on the PTR, not in terms of McCree, going back to Farah. Farah's damage, it looks like it's been nerfed to 80 per direct hit.
That was an April Fool's joke.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I heard it somewhere. I heard it circling. I wasn't too sure.
Styloso made a video about that, and they said that the damage was 80, and that like if she took hit scan damage, she lost all her jet fuel. I fell for it too, because like the first change was like a Junkrat sticky bomb thing. I was like, well, I mean about that Junkrat. I think Junkrat's super strong, but this problem with Junkrat is that he just spams damage and then he charges enemy ults. And one of the changes that in that April Fool's joke though was that he can like it would be a trigger. So he could shoot them out, stick them places, and then trigger them when he wants. So like he could know that he's gonna secure a kill before he blows it all up. Like, would you think that might be a good change?
I feel like he can kind of do that anyway with his concussion mine, because a lot of people, like a lot of really good Junkrats that really know the character, will set up a concussion mine on a wall or like above someone or something like that, and they'll spam in, and as soon as they get the hit marker, they'll just hit the concussion mine, and that'll be the kill if they know it's a squishy that's coming around the corner.
Yeah.
But there's always the combo of the trap and the concussion and all that sort of stuff, and I think Junkrat is very, very situational. He's one of those sort of gimmicky characters that can work, but he's too inconsistent for him to work all of the time or be a regular pick. That's why you don't see on a lot of like team play. You don't see Junkrats. It's because it's too reliant on being absolutely sure that you're going to get kills. It's the same as like staying with Hanzo or Widow or any one of those defensive heroes, whether it's on attack or defense. It's sort of like a hit and miss. You either hit all your shots or you don't hit any. So.
And I mean, you said that you can do this whole combo with Junkrat where you can Junkrat can easily kill a 200 health target, but I mean, first you gotta hit your shots, so if they're like a couple feet in front of you, that might be difficult. But I mean, where the problem I think arises is with the tanks that especially can shield themselves or back up easily, and like you hit a Roadhog who's getting pocketed by a Mercy, you can do like 500 damage to him, and then he can just get 500 back from a Mercy, and that has charged a ton of ult. Because with Junkrat, unless you are able to throw the concussion mine out super far, you can't really secure kills. That's like what's so good about Genji or Tracer, because you can hunt down people.
Yeah.
So, and another thing, people were talking about McCree. A lot of people think that McCree's flashbang is good. I feel McCree's flashbang is pretty terrible, honestly.
How? It gets it makes so many things in team play.
Some things, and McCree's flashbang is either super good because it can shut down a ton of ults, but it's on like a 10-second cooldown, and it literally says it stuns enemies only in front of you. So I mean, you have to first get close to the enemy, and like we said, McCree against like a dive comp, McCree gets dived super fast because he doesn't have any sustain, and like in ranked, your healers aren't going to be very known with you, so they're not going to be able to pocket you like how you need to deal with people jumping you. So like a Tracer, they'll come right in, and then they'll blink right out, and because that flashbang only stuns people right in front of you, it makes it that like a completely wasted ability.
Yeah, well, but the thing is that you can use it to bait people though. Like eventually you learn to like not throw the flash immediately at a good Tracer because you know she's just gonna blink away. So you just bait it, and that's just worthless anyway. And you just use once people actually come in after you. to get the kills. But yeah, I think Flashbang is one of the most powerful abilities. Like,
I mean,
being able to take down a Reinhardt shield and have your team just destroy their Reinhardt while that happens in like a coordinated situation is extremely powerful. Or stop a charge, or stop somebody from ulting, or stop like a tracer that's assaulting your healers just right in their tracks. It's more of the, not that it's going to be able to dominate a team single-handedly, the flashbang, but it's just a threat that keeps flankers away from the back line, or
like, I think it's good.
keeps the Reinhardt from being stupid. Or
it's hit or
like
miss, like I said. Like, it's on a 10-second cooldown, which is one of the longer cooldowns in the game. So if you miss that flashbang, it's completely wasted. And then you don't really have much protection for yourself.
I mean, that's part of the character, though. He's kind of like buying like a Deagle in CS. Like, he's either you dominate the game or you don't, just like a lot of other things. So if you're not hitting, then you're gonna die. But if you're going in, you can be the best player in the game and just win your team the game single-handedly. So that's part of it. But like, I don't know, top level McCreeds are not gonna waste their flashbang very often.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think the flashbang's fine. If he's throwing out flashbangs all the time, that would be ridiculous.
Well, yeah, but I mean, what people have been talking about, I don't know if we should change the flashbang, because like we said, it is one of the most powerful abilities in the game. You just have to know how to use it right. And I mean, like, McCree, Genji, and Lucio are some of the highest skill characters in this game. So I feel that can be a little... That's why they're so like lenient to change McCree, because he has such a high skill ceiling and he can carry like a game by himself, as long as he's just getting the healing every now and then. But people have been saying like make it so he can throw the flashbang like 2 people away from him, or a little bit farther.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is anyway, if you hit people too far away with the flashbang, then you're not gonna, most likely not gonna be able to line up the shot anyway. Or I mean, you could, but like, even right now with his damage fall, if it's that far away, he won't be able to get a one-shot headshot on certain characters, so that can make it kind of worthless anyway if you make it longer. But I don't know, I think if he can throw it from like a ways away, it just, poor like Reinhardt shields will be getting destroyed and stuff like that. But like, he'll just hit him and then head him back and then knock him down.
I think being able to throw it from like the length of like 4 Ryan shields away would be ridiculous, but maybe like if you stack 2 McCree, put 2 McCrees in front of each other, like maybe that would be kind of good.
Like, yeah, maybe.
Just double.
It's something they gotta try out. There's no way we can like answer like if it would be good or not.
I mean,
it's just something they gotta try on the PTR. They
can definitely do that on the PTR. All right. Well, any other characters that we think need changing?
A lot of people will talk about how Widow needs changing, but as somebody who plays her a lot, it's just, maybe on console she'll get a tiny buff, but she's just gonna be hit or miss. Like, you're gonna have times with a controller where you're just going in, like headshot, and then you're gonna have times you can't hit anything. That's just part of playing on a controller. Like, it's not gonna be as consistent, but like the problem is like she used to be overpowered in quick play, and even on console she was overpowered for the top Widows, and like, you don't want to have a game where it's just dominated by the sniper. It's not, maybe fun for the sniper, but it's not fun for everybody else in the game where they're out constantly worried about having a sniper on the other team that's just going to kill their entire team if they're good. And I don't know, I think it's more skill based in the game if it's not, the whole game's not around a Widow. Although I think it's great that a Widow can carry a game, she's going in that hard. But
I mean, like I said, before these Lucio changes, I felt like the meta was really open, and in comp I was seeing a ton of really good Widows climbing, and like characters that you never see. So like, that character is super good. I mean, she can one-shot drop half of the roster. Well, I mean, like a 3/4 of the roster. So it's mostly about just how the meta is working and if they fit into the situation. So
and she's definitely like, I don't know if she would need a buff if they actually wanted to be a defensive hero, but just the nature of a sniper is gonna have to be an offensive hero, just because you lose like on offense picks are huge, but on defense if you lose one gunfight or don't hit one shot, then your whole like defense collapses. So she's never gonna be like viable in defense unless they like really make her OP. But at the same time, like, I don't know, like with the Lucio changes, I think she would need a buff if they want her to be viable with that Lucio. But but I don't know how they buff her to be like quicker and be able to like. I guess she would have to stray faster while she's scoped in to make it so Lucio's can't just 1v1 you so easily, and because you won't have any healing anyway. So I don't know. I just think maybe she could get like a little bit more movement while she's scoping in. Maybe that would help her out.
Yeah. Well, my last topic that I want to go into is, now that we've had Orisa for about a month, do you think that teams are going to start running her? Or she's going to be picked up more?
I think it's a very, very, very high possibility that she gets run more with the Lucio changes, because we're likely to see like triple and quad tank come back, and the way Orisa's built, she's very good for countering triple and quad tank with the amount of damage she puts in. Now she can scramble teams away from that Lucio with her mini grab. Like, being able to pull somebody away from that Lucio puts them in position to get picked right now if you coordinate with your team. So it's definitely a possibility she could be a little more viable. Because there'll be times there's just wars where whichever team just has more shields is going to win, and Orisa contributes a ton to that shield war, both with damage and with extra shield. So if it comes down to like a slower quad tank meta, which I think would be extremely boring, I think Orisa would definitely be viable.
I mean,
Yeah.
as I've been seeing more Orisas, I've noticed how strong her barrier actually is.
Oh yeah, she's very strong. It's just very situational.
She has a ton of utility. She seems more like a utility tank. Just, again, situational, and the meta at the time wasn't really her, because she can't really defend herself against like a Tracer or a Reaper.
Yeah.
But now that they have this Lucio and all this, it's going to be a lot easier.
Like her abilities are really good too. Like her, as you said, like the shield is a big thing. You know, having 900 there, it allows your Reinhardt to, like if you're running a Reinhardt and Orisa, it allows your Reinhardt to build up his shield a bit. You know, if anyone is coming into the fight, they're getting in close, the Reinhardt can swing his hammer and focus on that and not have to worry about having to shield his teammates because that shield's up there. Orisa's ult is fantastic if everyone's grouped up and is utilizing it really, really well. Just the extra damage, maybe not to necessarily use ults with, but more like force ults out of the other team in order to sort of combat it. And you know, it can cause like really great pushes and stuff like that just by having that extra damage, and takes down the shield faster and stuff like that. So Orisa's really good for that. I think one of her issues is she's too easy to hit. I feel like if you do run a sniper into her, like a Hanzo Widow, she's too easy, like just to hit at all. So it seems like she's going to get picked off very quickly, regardless of how much healing she has behind her. So it's like her hitbox in general. Maybe I know her hitbox has been nerfed, but her entire hitbox is just so big for the amount of health that she has. And I mean, you could even like give her an extra bit of health or something like that, like 50 more health and 50 more armor. Because it is armor that she's got. It's not like Zarya where she's got shields or anything like that. So, and her movement speed is very, very slow too when it's firing. So it leaves her very, very vulnerable. In some cases. So she's got no mobility in that sort of sense, and no getting in and out of the fight. It's like as soon as she's in, it's really hard to get out. So she's got to be all in or not in at all. But other than that, I feel like because of her abilities, she can be utilized in team play really, really well, as long as the team can keep her up and you know, she can get the picks, and as you said, with the mini graviton, take away people from the Lucio and things like that. But yeah.
I wasn't thinking of it like that, but yeah, that's pretty strong actually, being able to take people off of that.
Yep. Yeah.
Also, I think when they nerfed her ult in the PTR, like they may have overdone it a little bit. Like I understand she shouldn't get that often because it's really, really strong, but it's one of the slowest charging ults in the game.
I mean, her ult gets destroyed in like a second. You walk up to it with Reaper and shoot it once, and it's dead. Or twice.
It's not. You can protect it a little bit just by body blocking it with her and your teammates, especially when you got a lot of tanks in the comp. It's pretty easy to body block the ult, but like I just think she should get it a tiny bit more often, just because like. I mean, it is vulnerable, but at the same time, you could win 2 or 3 team fights and just barely get it up for the third one. Like, and that seems a little bit overkill. So yeah.
It's not like Zaya's Graviton, or like the fact that her ult charge is solely based off her damage. So it's like a lot of like if she's very high charged and she's putting in a lot of damage, then you're rewarded for that by getting your ult quicker. But because Orissa's damage is so consistent, it's just like if she hits shots or she misses them, whatever it is. If she's hitting a lot of her shots, it's not the same as like if Zaya has high energy. It's sort of like just gradually going up and up and up. And if there's too many shields in the way, you're not going to get your ult quickly at all. It's just you're just going to be shooting into a shield as Orisa, so you're rarely ever going to get it. It's not like, it isn't like that Graviton where you can get it maybe every second team fight, or sometimes every team fight and maybe, a bit later or something. It's not like that. Orissa's really got to, she's really got to put in work in terms of damage on the enemy heroes, and she's just got to do that. If you're just using it to break down barriers, then you're not being able to get that ult, and it's really hard to do that. It's really hard to make use out of it properly.
With this triple tank meta, you can't really hit anything right now because of all the barriers in your face. It doesn't really help Orisa. And the meta's pretty bad right now.
This is where we could see a Sombra come into play really well. She's really, really strong now. She's been buffed a couple of times.
Yeah.
And I feel like her having her EMP and her hacking ability, if people can use that right as well, that's going to eliminate part of the shields as well without having to actually put in damage. So it does free up the battlegrounds a little bit. It'll be interesting to see if people do start running Sombra now because of her. It just means that if you're running triple tank, a lot of your damage ults have to be done through your Roadhog and your it's hard to actually get an ult combo with Sombra's EMP if you are running 3 tanks. I feel like in that case you would need a second DPS. You'd have to go back to 2-2-2. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out in terms of that.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, you guys pretty much said everything I was thinking about Orisa.
And also, Sombra doesn't need to utilize the Lucio's heals as much as a Tracer again she does to stay alive. Like, she just gets in and gets out. She's not going to really rely on passive heals or passive speed to stay alive for that extra second or two. She can just make her impact and then get out. So I think she's definitely got an indirect buff within the meta from the Lucio changes over her counterparts, Tracer and Genji. So I think it's definitely possible we could see her more. But it seems like that every push that we could see Sombra more, we just never seem to. So it'll see if some of the more creative teams can pull her out a little bit more.
Yeah, Sombra's hack does bring a ton to the table that none other hero can, especially with the EMP being able to drop every shield and every type of shield. That's ridiculously strong.
Yeah, she has one of the top 2 or 3 ults in the game. It's just hard to charge a little bit, and positioning on Sombra is incredibly important because you have to get in ranges to be able to hack people without getting shot quick enough and open up lanes for your team. So
it's going to be very map dependent as well. You'll see a lot of team comps where they do run the Sombra. For example, Temple of Anubis second point on defense. The Sombra, if they do run a Sombra, I've seen Selfless, they run it. They'll hack the health kit at the bottom, which means that if the team decides to go down there, if the enemy team decides to hit it, or the attacking team, they don't have that health kit to use, and so because of that, the teams know that, and they can get in there, utilize the health kit, charge some result really quickly, and it sort of just slows down things.
If you stall in a stall situation, if you get one of the healers, then relying on that mega under is really important for the offensive team to clean up, or the defensive team in that matter. So if you take that and completely claim it as the defensive team, it's very hard for the offense to sustain on the point without that mega that just constantly gives heals for the point. So the big thing for stalling on Sombra on that point, and a couple other ones, you can use her to get rid of the health packs for the other team.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've said everything I wanted to say. I think that we've covered the topics pretty good. If you guys want to make any last comments, shout out your SoundCloud or your YouTube or or your Twitch, shout out your album, your rap career, and all that. You guys can go ahead and do that right now.
I don't have anything necessarily that I need to plug. Just looking forward to the league starting back up next week and getting ready to get some big wins for the team. So yeah, shout out to the entire Resilient squad. We'll put it that way. So yeah.
Yeah, I think same goes for me as well. I think big shout outs to everyone in Resilience. Hopefully we can really come up big next week, and we can use this time off through Easter and stuff like that to really get a feel for the meta and just to practice and see what we can do, come up big this weekend or next weekend. And yeah, I am gonna pull a shameless plug. If you guys want to follow my Instagram, yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, I got a lot of like dank plays that I put in there, really really good stuff. A lot of Reinhardt plays from comp actually. And you can actually see the 150 ping come into play. It's fantastic. So that's KrudeDude _ if you guys are gonna go follow that on Instagram. So enjoy those.
KrudeDude _, huh? Oh,
Check it out.
here it is. Yo, if you check your phone, man, you'll see a followed by my Instagram, Addison Davis.
Nice.
And
very very nice.
And I'm gonna do a shameless plug too. Snapchat, @Addison Davis 2. That Snapchat is actually pretty crazy. It gets really lit over there. And follow me on my Twitter. I don't know. I run these things, so I'm just gonna shameless plug all my stuff. One last
you do what you
thing.
need to do, man.
I forget what. Oh yeah, my Twitter, Addy_do. That's DOO 2 O's. And well, that's everything.
Yep.
I mean, like I said in a previous podcast, I'm pulling for Resilience as well. I like everyone on that team. They're all my friends. So I hope you guys do really good too. But
yep.
Other than that, that was a pretty Gucci podcast. I'm gonna go ahead and end it.
Sam?
All right. Well, thanks for coming. And Gucci, bye.